I kind of wanted like a cleanse. This is a selfish thing. I wanted a cleanse this week of anything Puff related or Drake related for that matter. Two things that I could not escape this entire week. I didn't fully get through this Rolling Stone article that is about Puff and what they've been doing for the last 6 months, talking to former Bad Boy employees, artists, people that were around him, family. I get it. And this is important.
Yeah.
But I needed like a week to just not think about Puff and his nasty behavior. But
I don't think
timeline wouldn't let me.
I don't think this is something that's going away anytime soon. I think, unfortunately, this is just the very beginning of it. I think that, as more things come out, we are most likely going to come to realize that a lot of the things, rumors, and gossips that we've heard over the years about Puff and his lifestyle that we kind of just like waved off and was like, yeah, right. I think, unfortunately, we are going to find out that some, if not most of those things are indeed true.
This is how I knew the media was like really sick. Outside of the Rolling Stone article, at the top of the week, there was a headline saying the feds have uncovered a video of Puff victimizing a male prostitute in his house or some shit.
Yeah.
And then they used a picture of Puff in like the shower in like the fetal position. And that's what I had to scroll past for at least 72 hours. Why is that Puff's Getty image? He's like curled up in the shower like this, and the water's just coming down on him. And that's the photo they chose to spread all this news.
What does that symbolize?
Sodomy in a shower? I
don't know.
The washing of his sins.
Oh, see,
baptism.
Your mom should have gave Puff a
I mean, that's what Puff is going to do.
Yeah.
He's going to start a church. He's going to be reborn. Christianity. That's definitely going to happen. So I don't know. Maybe this is the photo that he sent to media. This was his press pic. Was like, yo, all right, if you're going to do this shit, at least get the one of washing the sins off me.
It's funny that you say that because I went to see
like a locker room shower though.
I went to see
is that the why?
I went to see Mona, Don't Call Me White Girl. She had a live podcast in Jersey the other day. So I went to see her. I went to check her out because she was in Brooklyn, I think, last week, and I didn't know about that show. Shout out to my guy Tom, one of the producers and host on the show. Been supporting him for a while. Happy to see his growth and everything. But shout out to Mona. She's super dope, super funny. Had a great show. If you ever get a chance to go see her, it's worth it. Shout out to Mona. Much love and respect to her. And she said that I told her we're in Philly soon in July. So she said she's definitely gonna come by and come see us. So shout out to Mona, Don't Call Me White Girl. Shout out to Tom. Shout out to Phelps.
Mona is fucking hilarious.
No, she's
very funny.
She's funny. But that was one thing that she said at the show. She was like, "Oh, y'all know it. You know what Puff gonna do? He gonna go to turn into the pastor.
TD Jakes, that's his man.
Yeah, like he's gonna whatever. I unfortunately
with his disciple King Los
go soak his feet.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I could see it happening if maybe some of the things that the feds are investigating, they weren't under investigation. I do think that it's going to be some severe jail time at the end of this, though. So I don't know if that is going to be possible. I don't know if the church route is going to be possible.
I think he will go to jail, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get him on some of like the major crimes. Like we already saw with the Cassie thing, the statute of limitations and all that. I think he's going to find his way out of the charges that could like land him in jail for over 20 years. But I think he will sit down for a little bit and come out reborn. And, it's all about Jesus and we all have to heal. And who are we as Christians to judge somebody?
Yeah, but I don't know if people
make sure you donate to him.
I don't know if people can support somebody that, because, people, when people usually turn to church, it's usually things, tax evasion, things like that. When you talk about some of these crimes and that he's being alleged of committing, I don't see how he can go do jail time, come home, start, become a pastor and start his own church, and people will actually go and support it because of the charges and the allegations that, especially after seeing the video of. Well, I mean, I don't see people going to a church to watch him speak out.
No, I mean, it can fit the church narrative the same way we were talking about with like Republican news spots. This fit their Democratic narrative as far as how nasty Democrats are. He could walk into a church and say the music industry is the devil. It took over me. I went in as a Christian man. My mother raised me this way. Then I got into the industry and the devil took me over. And then finally I got rid of the devil. Like this is set up. This is it. I'm not gays no more. Or whatever that gay guy said.
Oh, I don't like men's anymore.
I don't like men's no more. Damn, Rory, you seem like you thought about this. This your way out too?
No way out.
Like you seem like that was like thought out.
So mad I can never listen to that album again. Great album.
No, I didn't think this through, but you've seen this with pastors on like a lower level. If you really get into a lot of pastors from your neighborhood and who they were before, it gets a little nastier than like maybe they were doing home invasions, were just on the wrong side of the tracks.
Mhm.
Some of them were nasty as fuck, and this was their way out.
Yeah. And
They'll even give you fucking hints in their sermons sometimes.
speaking of No Way Out, one of the sickest things from this article is when Biggie passed, the cover of Rolling Stone was going to put Biggie on it, but Puff said, fuck that, put me on it, because he wanted to use it as an opportunity to promote his album, No Way Out. So, you know, he said, I was telling Sean, here's a quote from the article, I was telling Sean, let's make it Biggie, you still have a chance for the cover in the future. Burroughs, the rep from Rolling Stone, recalls. He was like, no, he's dead. I'm putting out his album No Way Out in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. And then this is the official cover that came out.
Burroughs was actually, I think, he may have been, he worked for Bad Boy.
Or sorry. Yeah. But yeah, anyway. Biggie
Is that a fake tattoo? Does he have a big tattoo, or they just do that for the cover?
If that's just for the cover, that's nasty.
Probably
sick.
for the cover.
Yeah, I think that was just for the cover. I mean, he might. I don't know. I've never looked at Puff's chest like that, but
Neither have I. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, I don't know which tattoo he has on his chest, but you know, a lot of these things now, looking, you know, now that we have a lot of these things to go back to and look at, of course, things are going to look a lot different now with some of these, you know, the information and the confessions and the interviews that we're getting from a bunch of people. A lot of things from, you know, such a prestigious, monumental era in music and hip hop, from one of the most iconic labels. A lot of these things are going to start to look a lot different. A lot of these things are going to start to come across a lot different. And that's one of the things that, you know, I'm looking down the line at, is like how much of my childhood and things that I thought was super cool and dope, and how much of that changes and looks completely fucked up now.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I've been thinking about with this whole Puff situation. You know, I'm a little older than everybody in the room, so I remember that time better than most of y'all, and it was a really dope time and dope moment just for music, for hip hop, for New York.
Yeah, you guys remind us how much cooler it was in our era.
Yeah,
Pretty often.
Oh, so much cooler. But
Wouldn't even let me like Nelly.
But is it cooler though? Now, you see what I'm saying? Like now, with a lot of this shit ain't cool.
I don't know. I unfortunately feel like abuse is across the board for generations.
Oh yeah,
generation.
Every generation has its.
I don't know if it's any
level of
different
abuse.
than mine, because I don't think it's a hip hop problem. I think it's a life problem.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm sure my era has its fair share of abusers as well that will come to the light soon, and some that have already come to the light, but everyone just kept scrolling.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hear you, but I don't think my generation is any different. I don't think the generation before you was any different. Hopefully, generation after us will be, but I don't know.
Well,
My daughter didn't get baptized. So.
I gotta read that Rolling Stone article, Julian. I know you said you read it.
Yeah, a couple of things that were just circulating the timeline. I mean, it just kind of emboldens what we've learned from Diddy, this whole thing. But it's cool because there's more personal anecdotes. So, like, Wendy Williams' firing from Hot 97 was directly caused because she called Diddy gay on air, and he wasn't playing that. So he had her removed from the station.
She had a gay list. Do you remember Wendy Williams' gay list?
Yeah.
Well, she was 1 for 1. At least she had Diddy right. And then Biggie, this was also, again, rumors swirling around the time of Biggie's death. He was ready to leave Puff because he wanted to own his publishing. There was a lot of legal battles. Puff had him in like a chokehold creatively and financially. And Biggie was very much ready to get out of that deal right before his passing.
Yeah, him and Un were trying to go to Epic.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, outside of the nasty sexual stuff, it's just a lot of control and power on everybody that he came in contact with, whether it be from the label employee side to the artist side as well. So it's just, it kind of reaffirms what we knew, but just with more personal anecdotes. It's a really good read too. Yeah,
I saw some people from Howard that he went to school with were discussing.
Oh, he was a terrible person in college.
In
oh
dorm
my
rooms,
God.
and it was a lot of the stuff that I did read. I didn't read the entire thing, but the excerpts were more nasty shit, more believable shit. But
yeah,
it'll remain to be seen what happens. Like, I'm happy the stories are getting out, but what's going to be done with it? What's going to be the consequences?
Andre Harrell got rid of him, created distance from him and his whole thing. And then that kind of, unfortunately, became like the spark that let Puff on his own develop at what became Bad Boy. But yeah, it's sickening. And you can just see the dominoes falling in place to make someone that's already deranged. Because to your point, at Howard, he was a demon. Even in college, before he had any money, any real notoriety, he was an awful person then. So yeah,
So even Valletta Wallace, which I don't think this was in the Rolling Stone article, but they did cover a quote of her saying she wants to slap the daylight out of Puff.
Yep.
To getting a Christian Jamaican woman to say that, you got to do some nasty shit.
Yeah, and for Miss Wallace to say that, that means that she's heard or learned enough to be at that point where she feels like those are the words she wants to say. Because Miss Wallace doesn't. I thought that was a fake quote. That's why I was like, wait, what is that? Because I've never seen Miss Wallace being quoted speaking that way or talking that way. So she's obviously upset about some findings and some things that she's learned. I'm pretty sure she's had years of people telling her things that she probably didn't believe or didn't think were going on.
She's been kind of vocal, I feel like, since Biggs passing against Puff. I mean, they were cordial at one point.
More so was more so on the business side of things, though.
Because, I mean, she wasn't around like that.
Yeah.
She was home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she had her gripes about business stuff, but I'm sure she has had conversations with C's, Kim, people that were around some nasty shit and heard her fair share of stories.